Give it a moment. But Andre Johnson. Those of y'all that don't know who Andre Johnson is, former wide receiver for the Houston Texans, probably
University
the
of
most
Miami.
University of Miami receiver, probably the most quiet receiver of all time.
The quiet destructor.
That's a real thing.
No, I don't know. Just made up
Well, I know he let his hands do the talking when it came to Cortland Finnegan.
Oh yeah.
My man hit him. My man was like, "Take your helmet off."
That was out of character of Andre. That was really out of character.
Hey, bro. Sometimes you gotta break it to show it, bro. Like
his hands looked big as hell when he was swinging at him.
Yeah. So here's the situation here, right? So the Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans quarterback, is extremely upset with the Houston Texans organization because of their whole hiring process. He feels like he was left out as far as the whole hiring of the general manager, and he feels left out with the hiring of the head coach. One of the main.
Kyrie.
Would you say Banks?
Oh, he's Kyrie.
I wouldn't call him Kyrie.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm
like
pretty
Kyrie,
sure Deshaun Watson thinks the world is round.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But when from the perspective of a Deshaun Watson, you would think, as far as him being your best player on your team, he deserves to have input as far as future transactions concerning the front office, for surrounding him with the proper pieces for him to succeed, well, for the team to succeed. But Andre Johnson just tweeted out because of the fact that Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston because of what the past situations. And I quote, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I will stand my ground. The Texans organization is known for wasted players' careers. Since Jack Easterby has walked into the building, nothing good has happened for the organization. For some reason, someone can't seem to see what's going on. Pathetic. And this has 3 exclamation points, and I can't imagine Andre Johnson saying this because, again, when I was watching Andre Johnson play, I was a big fan of Andre Johnson growing up. Didn't really have an attitude, didn't really raise his voice. He just had the same mellow tone voice. So, like, for him to come out and tweet this rocks the world. It just rocks the world. Like, you just get a brand new perspective.
I don't think he's ever been in the news for anything negative at all. He's always been in the news for positive stuff, especially that toy drive thing that he does every year. He still does that. He's really big in the community. Even in Miami locally, he does a lot. Yeah. So you're right. I mean, it's for him to speak out about that says a lot.
Well, Andre Johnson is like the NFL version of Joe Johnson. Just like, always just a dude who does his job real well. You don't hear too much out of him otherwise. But what he's talking about is organizational culture. He's basically saying that the Houston Texans are going to Houston Texans. They got a way of running things and they ain't going to change. Even when they pay a recruiting firm, I don't even know if it was it was a consultancy firm, hundreds of thousands of dollars to find and vet a general manager candidate, and then they pick a general manager candidate that wasn't even vetted by the consultants that they hired.
Right.
So clearly, when it comes
to
Bob
McNair still their owner?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but Cal McNair, right?
The son. That's the son.
Yeah. Yeah, Bob McNair died, right? Cal McNair's in charge now.
Yeah, Kyle McNair's in charge. Bob McNair died.
But, wow, I didn't know that. I forgot he passed. Damn.
It appears that the organization is running the same exact way. So if I'm Deshaun Watson, number one, if I'm going to try and do a leverage move, you got to do that before you sign the long-term deal. Once you sign the long-term deal, you know the cap ramifications of you moving. So your options are highly limited. And I don't even know if Deshaun Watson even said what was attributed to him saying what he actually said. But, look, man, if you're Deshaun Watson, you're looking at the next 3-4 years, playoffs are not a real possibility. It's not a real possibility for you. So, in his mind, he's like, hey, I'm out here taking these licks for nothing right now. So I'm staring down the barrel of the prime of my career, and y'all don't know what y'all are doing. Now that is an argument you need to have before you sign that long-term deal. But once you sign the deal, y'all are married. At least until the guaranteed money dries up. Y'all are basically married, so...
Now, what if the Houston Texans promised Deshaun Watson some things behind the scenes that we don't know about, and he went ahead and signed the contract because of those promises?
Deshaun Watson, once he saw that organization trade DeAndre Hopkins for a bagged lunch, all promises are off the table. Anything they told you is a lie. He should have realized that. Once you see DeAndre Hopkins walk out the door, and what comes back in the door is David Johnson, the broken down remains of a running back that at one time was good. You have to understand organizationally what's happening around you. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, let me ask you this real fast, because you got to think of it from this perspective as a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just being hypothetical here. Maybe Deshaun Watson probably thought to himself, critics may have thought that the reason why Deshaun is so successful is with DeAndre Hopkins. So he's proving. You think I'm reaching here, Banks? You think I'm reaching?
Yeah,
you think it's reach?
I think that's a bit of particularly in the NFL, and I think from a fan's perspective, they look at the big names and they think if you got a big name quarterback, that means that you're winning something. But I think, and particularly for a veteran in the league, should understand better than anyone else, you need a whole ass team to win. Ain't like this whole quarterback putting the team on his back. That's all good and fine for the regular season. Once you get into the playoffs, you need a whole team to do anything. Like the whole I can win it by my own. That's a basketball mentality. Mm-hmm. That's a James Harden mentality. That rule does not apply to the NFL at all. So for me, once you see DeAndre Hopkins walk out the door, you see a bagged lunch walk right back through the door, you already know they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And you just signed off the prime of your career to this franchise. Now, the price was right. The price was right. You're set. Your family's set for the rest of your life. But in terms of success, don't look for too much of that. I understand why you want out, but it's a hard bargain because your salary puts you in a tough decision. It puts you in a position where basically you have to be traded for another quarterback of an equivalent salary. The quarterback is the only position salary-wise where you can match up players. So, hey man, we'll have to see. But if I was Jimmy G, I would not buy a house.
What you got, Banks?
I mean, I think Havoc just took all the words out of my mouth. Honestly, that's a good take, man. Everything Havoc said for the most part is true. I do feel like there might have been some smoke blown up Deshaun Watson's ass a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I feel that was kind of unfair. But that's out of his control. He doesn't control the team. He doesn't have the ultimate say so at the end of the day. That decision was exclusively made by the then coach and general manager at that time. So, whether Deshaun Watson agreed to that trade or not, it wouldn't matter because, the decision was going to be made whether he liked it or not. Whether the contract was signed before or after the trade, it wouldn't matter. So I feel bad for him in that aspect because we got a guy that could potentially, on a lot of people's radars, including mine, could be an NFL MVP as well as on the right team, a Super Bowl winner. And he's just that damn talented. You know what I mean? It's there. You can see it. I couldn't even believe he fell that low in the draft when it happened. I was blown away by it because his college career, it just spoke for itself. I mean, this is a guy that single-handedly beat Alabama by himself. Like, once I saw that, it was just enough. That's why I fell in love with guys like Lamar Jackson. Once I seen how Lamar Jackson handled defenses like Florida State, for instance, I knew this guy was going to be special on the next level because Florida State puts out pro-level athletes, Hall of Fame athletes every year. So now the more on the point of Andre Johnson's tweet, Again, this Andre Johnson just ain't know anybody in the Texas franchise. That's just not. He just ain't know anybody. That's somebody that has enough clout as just maybe JJ Watt. They're they are the Houston Texans. They were there since the exception, where Andre Johnson was. And you got a guy that's lived out his entire career in JJ Watt. So when these guys speak, it's going to be heard. So it definitely sounds like there's some type of personal thing going on there for Andre Johnson. I feel like maybe there's some things behind the scenes that happened while he was there. They just wasn't happy of it. But again, Andre Johnson's demeanor and attitude isn't to go out and speak about it. He just, like we said, he's an even kill. He just, keeps his mouth shut. Like Larry Fitzgerald was another guy that you don't hardly ever hear anything about. You'll find out about their careers after they retire. They'll probably come out and say a couple comments during interviews and stuff like that, because they're just not those type of players to speak about the franchise or anybody else. They're not that kind of guy. So when I sent that tweet information over to DeVore to the group chat on Twitter, it actually surprised me because I think a buddy of mine, actually, big shout out to my boy Steve Lopera, one of my closest friends. He actually was the one that sent the information over to me, and once I got it, I sent it over to you guys, because I just thought that it was crazy to see Andre Johnson talk like that, because he never talks like that ever. So there's more fire than smoke here. There's definitely some fire, and he laid it out there. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Man, Deshaun Watson, I feel bad for him, man.